She gets hungry for dinner at 8. She loves the theater and never comes late. She never bothers with people she hates. That's why the lady is a tramp.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Double T Podcast Network. I am your host, Double T, welcoming everybody and wishing you a very happy Wednesday. Folks, let's catch up on some of the things that might have been passed over a little bit because of the events that had happened on this past Saturday, a day that will live in infamy. Let's talk about Judge Cannon's dismissal of the classified documents case against President Trump. Now, I know that the leftists are screaming and they're up in arms about it because they're saying that she gave Trump a free pass on this. However, let's take this back a notch and let's talk about the fact that the special prosecutor, Jack Smith, was illegally or inappropriately appointed to that position, and there was a complete mishandling of the classified documents. If you remember that picture that the FBI put out of all those documents on a bathroom floor with those yellow bordered and red bordered papers on top of them that said top secret classified, and some of the exposed documents were blurred out. That was staged. That is not how the documents were found. The documents were all stored. They were in boxes. They were sequential. So now when they go back to look for some of these documents, they're not there. Why is that? Trust me, Trump doesn't have them in his vest pocket, okay? A lot of this had to do with another important news announcement that came just a day or so earlier, was the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity. Finally. They are going to let a president of the United States execute the duties of his office. Folks, listen, I don't care if you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat, okay? If a president doesn't have immunity while he is in office, he cannot faithfully execute the duties of that office because he's going to be terrified that when he gets out of office, he's going to be prosecuted. So what you're basically doing is you're having a figurehead as a leader and you're tying his hands. So the Supreme Court, I don't care what you say, conservative, not conservative, I don't care. The Supreme Court made the right decision in granting presidents immunity. And I'm going to tell you something. That goes for old Smokey Joe, too. He's going to need it. Believe me, he's going to need it. I go back to that debate, and I'm sorry, and I think that I brought this up in a previous podcast, that, my contempt for Joe Biden is gone. I do not have contempt for this man at all. I have nothing but empathy for him at this point because he's not calling the shots. He's being pushed by his wife, who must have some sort of self-esteem problem because she has a hunger for power and also little Hunter, who is now sitting in on cabinet meetings and is now an advisor to his father. This is what we need. We need a cracked out, coked out maniac advising the President of the United States. Let me tell you how vain his wife is, besides the Vanity Fair cover. And that pose. That cracked me up. Do you know that Jill Biden had a special song created by the White House orchestra band or orchestra, whatever it's referred to as? You know how the president has hailed to the chief? Well, now they have a song for the first lady. So whenever the first lady comes out, she has her own special hail to the first lady. I don't know what it's called, but it's horrible on top of everything else. But that's how vain this woman is. And if you saw her the night of the debate, when, and I, shame on CNN, all right? Shame on them for showing her escorting the president off the stage. That is something that should have never made it to the camera. Okay, because all that did was just fuel the fire even more. Okay, so she helps him down the stairs like he's a toddler. Okay, and then right after that, as an event, she's there like a seal going, "Oh, Joe, you did it. You answered all the questions. You did such a good job. And you know, the only thing that the other guy did is he lied." With the finger out there, I swear she looked like Lucifer when she said that fire in her eyes. It was he lied. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it was her cocaine that they found in the White House. Who knows? But these people are off their rockers with power. So, the only other interesting tidbit to this whole thing, and I just read this today, President Biden said he would consider stepping aside if, and only if, his doctors told him that he had some issue, condition, problem that would not allow him to execute his duties. Okay? Folks, don't buy any of this bullshit. This is all scripted. This has been the plan from the start. If you'll notice, the press has turned on Biden. All right? The press is actually kind of saying nice things about Trump. Go figure. But this is all scripted. Back in 2020, and I said this before I started podcasting, Kamala Harris was a candidate for president, and she failed miserably. I don't believe she got a delegate. The only thing that she successfully did was she humiliated Biden on stage with that story about the little brown girl on the bus in California with the segregated bus. Okay, because Joe is one of the authors of that bill, and another thing he can be proud of. So, Kamala is Biden's girl. Excuse me, is Obama's girl. Obama wanted her from the start. Now, what we have lived through for the last 3.5 years is Obama's third term. Make no mistake. Obama, Valerie Jarrett, and Susan Rice have been calling the shots in this White House from day one. Okay? You saw the day that Obama returned to the White House for the first time, and you saw how everybody, including Harris, was swarming Obama, and Obama couldn't get anybody's attention. He even had to go tap Obama on the shoulder. Biden hates Obama, and Obama hates Biden. There's no love between those two guys. There's no respect between those two guys. But Obama's the boss. Okay? So, this is all scripted. Joe's going to step aside. Kamala's going to come up. And that's going to be Kamala, and they might probably tack on Newsom as the vice president because they're not going to get away with getting rid of Kamala. One, she's a woman. Two, she's of color. Three, there'll be an upheaval about it. So you put her there for now. You put Newsom in. And if they win, you're going to have a fourth term of Obama. However, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay? I think you're going to get a second term of Trump. I think Trump all but won the election on Saturday. Why do I say that? Well, the man was at a rally. The man was giving a speech. Somebody tried to assassinate him. Yeah, he got clipped in the ear. If he was a centimeter to the left or to the right, who knows what would have happened? Who knows? We could be having a very different conversation today. But when the Secret Service picked him up, and I'm really surprised that they didn't take him off the X, because that's what you're supposed to do. Like where he was standing behind the podium is what it's referred to as the X, okay? When an assassination attempt is attempted and the president is standing on the X, the first job of the Secret Service is to get him down and off the X. Because if you get him off the X, the shooter is not now in position for his target. Then what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to maybe throw some smoke bombs so they can shield the protectee. They didn't do that either. I'm really curious. Here's a good one for you. The FBI is now in charge of this investigation of the Secret Service and how this matter was handled. Did you see the tape of the girl who couldn't get the gun in the holster, who was about maybe 8 inches shorter than Trump, trying to stand in front of him? I mean, what was this, her first day on the job? Did she miss holstering class? But the FBI is going to investigate it. So here's the scenario. Jim Jordan's going to be sitting there. He's going to say to Christopher Wray, he's going to say, Mr. Director, can you please tell me why this Secret Service agent was a foot shorter than the president and couldn't holster her gun? And Ray's going to sit there and give the answer he's been given for 4 years. I'm sorry, I can't comment on an ongoing investigation. I'm sorry. This is something I can't comment on right now. And then Merrick Garland will do the same thing. I'm sorry, I can't comment on ongoing investigations. And it's all a bunch of horseshit. Let me explain something to you. You can go at your enemy 3 different ways. You can verbally attack them. You can attack them in the press. You can attack them with, however, verbally. Then you can go after them legally. They have tried everything on Trump. I mean, Trump, when you really think about it, they used to call Gotti the Teflon Don. Trump is even better than Gotti. No matter what they have thrown at this man, nothing has stuck. Because, quite honestly, what has he done wrong? What has this man done to deserve what he has gotten? He has been wiretapped. He has been bugged. His campaign has been bugged. They impeached him twice. Hillary Clinton paid for a dossier to show that he was a Russian asset. All right? All the different, now Alvin Bragg, Fonnie Willis, Jack Smith, all these court cases against him have failed. There's only one other way you can get your enemy, folks. And that's to kill him. Think about it. Now, the corrupt Department of Justice is going to oversee the investigation of the corrupt Secret Service. Because they've been having problems for years. And that Secret Service director, whatever the hell her name is, she should have been fired on the spot. And everyone on that team should have been fired. Everybody on that protection detail should have been fired immediately. I do think that Biden stepped up and gave Trump the full protection package, though. And Trump's calling that RFK should get the protection package also. But what do you do with all this information? You just could come to conclusions. You could try to think outside the box a little bit. You can stay within the, you can just listen to what they tell you. But don't believe anything that you hear and believe half of what you see. Because I'm telling you, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm telling you, there's a much bigger story that you'll never know behind this. Moving on. Let's move on. Big news. Trump announced J.D. Vance as his vice presidential nominee. Great choice. J.D. Vance is a guy that is built for the future of the Republican Party. You know, you will have one term of Donald Trump, okay? And then you get a young guy like J.D. Vance. He can grab a DeSantis, Rubio, and I mean, the Republican Party, if they play their cards right, can ride this for a long time because they've got some young talent. Byron Donald, Dan Crenshaw. There's a lot of good young talent in the Republican Party. And these guys, I do believe in my heart of hearts, are smart enough to cross party lines and get some stuff done. I do believe that with all my heart. And Silicon Valley must be happy because they potentially have a vice president who is a tech guru. So that's a good thing also. And then we have been watching for the past couple of days the RNC, which I do believe concludes tonight. I think it's tonight, and we will hear Donald Trump's acceptance speech. We'll hear a speech from J.D. Vance, I'm sure. I will tell you, one of the best speeches I heard was from Elena Hava, which is Trump's lawyer. I think she is absolutely wonderful, and I certainly hope that there is a place for her in that administration because I do believe she deserves it. I do believe that Vivek Ramaswamy will be in that administration. I see him as a phenomenal attorney general or secretary of state. But there are some very talented people on Trump's team this go around. You'll notice that Trump's campaign this year is much different than it was in 2016 and much different than it was in 2020. He's a much more reserved candidate. I think Trump has learned from a lot of mistakes that he has made, and he's made them. He knows it. But he's still a narcissist, and that's okay. All great leaders are narcissists. Okay? But he's not a perfect human being, but none of us are. So my suggestion is to, anytime I get into this discussion, and I used to do this with my father all the time. He says, "You still like that?" I said, "Dad, what's wrong with Donald Trump?" "Well, he did this, he's this, he's that, he did this, he did that, he did this, he did that." I said, "Okay." I said, "Dad, how does that reflect on how he carried out his duties as president? Everything that you just mentioned was personal. I don't care about personal. We're not electing an altar boy, and we're not electing Pope. Okay? We are electing a man to do a job. And since Reagan, man, there's been no one that I don't think has ever done a finer job. And I would like to see him at least get the 4 more years that he deserves to finish his job and clean up this mess that Joe Biden has made of this country, or that Barack Obama has made of this country. It's a shame. It's a damn shame. Because what they have done by letting all these illegal immigrants in this country is they've taken away from our own people, our own homeless people, our veterans, and our American citizens that really need help. You know, when they kick kids out of a school and go to remote learning because they needed the school to house illegal aliens, nah, I'm not good with that. When they kick kids out of the park and say they can't play there because they're going to put a tent city there, I'm not for that. I'm not for that at all. So, you can disagree with me, and I'm more than happy. You're more than what you can comment. You can do anything you like. I'd like you to do me a favor, and if you could, like and subscribe to my channel. This way, it goes into that algorithm that, you know, shares my channel a little bit more, and I can grow a little bit faster, and I could be seen by more people. And I would appreciate that greatly. I hope I give you something to think about every time that we're together. I'm not just trying to shove my opinion down your throat. I'm trying to give you unbiased facts. I am not trying to speak from a left or a right standpoint. I'm just trying to speak from my heart. And with that, I will say to you this. Tomorrow is granted to no one. So if you have the opportunity to stop and smell the roses, my suggestion is that you do that. And also, if you have the opportunity to do a random act of kindness for somebody, anybody, take that opportunity. For if you do that random act of kindness, this world will be a much better place to live. Until we meet again, this is your pal, Double T, saying ciao, ciao.
Memories pressed between the pages of my mind. Memories sweeping through the ages just like wine. Quiet thoughts come floating down and settle softly to the ground like golden autumn leaves around my feet. I touch them and they burst apart with sweet memories. Sweet memories of holding hands and red bouquets and twilights trimmed in purple haze, laughing eyes and simple ways, quiet nights and gentle days with you.